Turn my headphones up. Louder.
Okay, we got a special guest on this episode. I haven't even spoke to him for years now, but he's a very prominent person in my life. He's actually one of the main persons that brought me to Houston. If you watch the Texans, you know the Texans. He is probably, at least from my knowledge, again, I don't know football like that, the best running back in Texans history. One of the best in the NFL at the time, and now he is retired, living his own life, but he's actually somebody that got me here. So this is the Daily Dose. We got Arian Foster in the building. He had a night out last night.
He did, yeah.
He's got one more chance to take the shot with me.
Oh, man, I'm chilling.
So I'm going to keep the tradition alive. He made a movie with The Rock. Didn't know The Rock had a tequila.
That's true, yeah, I did.
What was that, Baywatch, Arian?
Yeah, Baywatch.
How was that experience?
It's interesting. Acting is interesting. It's fun, but it wasn't for me. Cheers,
Cheers, my brother.
Yeah, salute.
Crazy thing is, when Arian met me, I was this 23-year-old kid who didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do anything.
He was corrupted.
And then this motherfucker fucked me up. No, but he again, huge impact in my life. I was literally a boy when I met you, and he helped me through a lot to become a man and through some adversity. So I'll give you your flowers there in a few. Let's talk about yourself, man. So people know you as a football player, but you're obviously more than that. You were, I guess, from New Mexico.
Yeah.
So we had the passion in football, and then that started with your life.
It was just like a family thing. My father played. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there wasn't a lot to do out there. So it was like sports or the streets, and I dabbled in both. And so, but growing up, my father didn't actually want us to play, me or my brother. And it was my mother that signed us up for football, actually. And I think I was 7 when she signed me up. And I was just leaps and bounds better than everybody else around me. So I knew it was something I wanted to do. Plus, getting out of the circumstances we was in, kind of grew up in poverty. And just kind of wanted to get out of that. And that was like a pathway that I saw. So... I balled at a young age, and then kind of got in some trouble. And my father moved to San Diego, and I moved to San Diego, cleaned up my act, ended up with a 3.1 from a 1.7.
Damn, 1.7?
I was bad. I was like ditching class and like getting in fights. It was stupid.
Well, I remember when you talked to me, you had struggles in New Mexico because of the skin barrier and stuff, right? Because you were considered black and Mexican, is that what it was?
That was part of it. I think
you were kind of a little bit different.
Well, that's a deeper topic, but I think, race relations in the inner city like that can be a issue. I think my mother's Mexican and my father's black, and so it's you never really accepted by either parties, and so you kind of have to just find your own way. And as a youngster, that's kind of hard to navigate. As an adult, shit don't matter. But when you're young, it kind of defines who you are. You're like an outcast. I always felt like I was outside. But yeah, it's part of it growing up, and you move on. You learn from it.
So you went to San Diego. You got your GPA to 3.1. Yeah. Were you having aspirations to go to the next level then, or is it still you're killing it, you're doing your thing, and you want to go do this?
Yeah, no, that was the goal. It's always been my goal was to get to the NFL. And the liaison to that was college, and so I knew I had to get my grades up. And so when I went to San Diego, I had to do night classes to make up for all the bad shit that I was doing. And so I did night school for a year and a half. Every day I had to drive how long was the drive? It was like 30 minutes to a school called Mira Mesa. And got the grades right, got it up balled out when I was in San Diego and got a scholarship to the University of Tennessee.
Were there any
Ironic, I wore that shit.
Were there any other schools that reached out to you that wanted you, or did you specifically want to go to it? Did it matter? You just wanted to get to a college?
I mean, once my first offer was my first D1 offer, I think it was Iowa State. And I remember looking at the letter like, oh, I'm going to Iowa State, the Cyclones. But once you get the first offer, like they kind of just start rolling in. And so like I got offers all through. It was the Pac-10 then. I don't know what it is now. But a bunch of Pac-10 offers, Big 12, a couple of SEC schools. And so once the offer started rolling in, it was like, I kind of got my pick of the litter.
Did you get anything from San Diego or like USC or anything like that?
Yeah. They wanted to keep me there. I think.
Damn, I'm surprised you didn't take that.
San Diego?
Yeah, just being there, and I think San Diego's nice.
Beautiful city, but wanted to get out of the city.
Okay.
Like once you kind of, in that environment, you always want to. Well, me anyway. I wanted to explore.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that I went to high school out there. They wanted to stay. A couple of my buddies stayed and went to San Diego State. Is the biggest school there. But no, I wanted to fly the nest. And
then so you got to Tennessee, and then when you got to Tennessee, were you considered a starter, or you had to earn everything?
No, that was a little mountain to climb.
Did you ever face like adversity of like, fuck, this NFL dream isn't gonna happen?
Yeah, for sure. When I first got there, I was like, that was a culture shock too, because coming from like the Southwest and then the West Coast, and then going to the South, that was like a super culture shock. I just wasn't like everybody else. And it was different then, because like now it's like the internet is a thing and everybody kind of understands, everybody. But back then, it like regionality was a thing. And so like people from the South were from the South, right? And so people from the West Coast, it was different cultures. And so coming from the West, I was a little bit more like liberal. Like, so like, for instance, I remember I got in trouble with the coaches because like they would call me and I'd be like, huh? And they like took that. That was disrespectful because you didn't say sir.
Oh,
right. And
that type of South.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in that environment. So like little things like that was always just people always felt like I was disrespecting them. I was like, I'm not from here. Like, and I was never raised to yes sir, no ma'am. That was just not how I was raised. And so those kind of social hurdles on top of like teammates, everybody was religious. I wasn't very religious, and so those kind of dynamics.
Are you religious now?
No, still not religious.
We'll talk about that.
I mean, I grew up Muslim, and people from the South don't really. Back then, anyway, I don't know what it's like now, but like people. They weren't really accustomed to seeing any kind of Muslims. And so like their only understanding of Muslims was like 9/11, right? That's what they associated with. And so it was like always combating that kind of stuff versus being a mixed kid, versus like just the dialect difference. And it was a lot without really knowing what I was getting into. And so I kind of navigate that solo.
Was it like a lot of like teammates type deal? Like players and shit coming at you with that, or is it more just? Oh, really?
Yeah. I got in some fights with some good friends now, but back then it was the culture clash was a real thing. I wasn't from there, so like little stuff like I remember we almost got into a fight because like people do dice different. Like we used to play dice, right? Like we shoot dice, and like where I was from, like if you touch the dice, like when you hold them, I don't know if you know how to play dice, but like when you hold somebody's dice, if you touch it, that was kind of like disrespectful. And so like I'm like, little shit like that, and it was like, what's the problem? And like it was like little shit like that all the time, just differences in how we was raised, and I think I kind of miss that actually, because. Like if you like now, everybody kind of talks the same. Like
you stood for something.
Well, yeah, it was just like you where you was from meant something, and then now it's like I mean, I guess it's kind of good because it's like a melting pot, and everybody has like a baseline, which is the internet, and everybody kind of meets you there. But back then you could tell where somebody was from by how they talked, and it was kind of dope.
So you were struggling a little bit. Were you like I asked, did you start off rip, or how did you have to get to that point?
No, let's see. I redshirted my freshman year because there was what happened. There was like some clearinghouse stuff. They were still clearing all my grades. Apparently, there was something happening like with a test or something, and so I didn't even go through training camp my freshman year, so they redshirted me. And then going into that year, I was like third or fourth in the depth chart. I played a little bit. We had a senior, Gerald Riggs, I think his name was, and just kind of try to get in how I could. He ended up getting hurt. They had another kid behind me by the name of Montario Hardesty, who ended up getting drafted by the Browns, I think. And they liked him more than they liked me. But he had got in, and I think he tore his ACL. Mm-hmm. And that season, I think the last 5 games, I think I had like 150 plus each game. I went crazy. We actually played Wyoming that year and lost.
Wait, you lost to Wyoming?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. That was my senior year. That was my senior year.
Damn, you should not lose any of those Wyoming teams.
I didn't play that game.
You were in Wyoming?
No, they came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think we would ever go to Wyoming.
That shit.
No, that was my senior year. I don't know what I'm thinking. But so the last 5 games I started. Balled out. Mm-hmm. And then, going into my sophomore year, I was like thinking, I have a good year, I'm out,
Okay.
I ended up spraining my ankle the second game of the season. And we had that cat, Montario Hardesty, and another cat behind me named LaMarcus Coker, and they were both ballers. And I don't know, kind of how football is if they doing good, it's hard to get your spot back. Mm-hmm. And so coming back, trying to get in the rotation, it was really hard. And it was just like an uphill battle that entire year. And then the next year, kind of made up my mind, like, nah, they don't play me. And so that year, worked my ass off that summer and ended up starting, had a really, really good year. It was like all SEC, should have left, but I don't know why I didn't leave. Came back my senior year, and I bumped heads with the coaching staff like pretty bad. Mm-hmm. They didn't even play me like that.
Oh, your senior year?
Yeah, my senior year. I didn't get no burn really. Like I remember.
So that's why you were undrafted.
Yeah. I had a 2nd round grade coming out after my junior year because you put your film in. I don't know if they still have it, but back then they had something called the NFL Advisory Committee. Uh-huh. And so you take like your 5 best games, or you submit it to the committee, and they say, okay, based on this, we feel like it'll fall here. And I was slotted to go anywhere from like the 2nd to 4th, and that could bump up depending on how you do the combine. All that was
stuff. All based off your junior year then.
Yeah, junior year. And so I should have left, but I remember we was playing Georgia my senior year, and I had like 3 carries. Like they just didn't play me at all. And Mark Richt, the head coach, he came up. This kept me going because that year I was going through it mentally. I was like, this is my senior year. Like they're not playing me. Like I was like, my future's in the balance. And he comes to me after the game. He goes, man, I don't know what's going on. He said, but you're a hell of a player. He's like, I don't know what's going on over there. That was like, shit, somebody sees it, But after that year, like they just didn't play me. I was like really bitter. And by the time it was the end of the season, I didn't go to class my last year. I just didn't even go to class. I was just so like in my head. Cause like this is what I wanted to do since I was a kid. And I felt like they was taking it, without a real reason. And so we ended up parting ways, ended up, it's a long ass story, but I ended up.
No, you're good.
But we ended up going undrafted. And I ended up choosing. I had a couple choices because when you go undrafted, you get calls from teams that say, okay, we want you for camp. It's basically like a tryout. And so I could have went to the Jets, the Saints, and Houston. And so at the time, I looked at everybody's depth chart, and I was like, I feel like I'm better than everybody here. That's just what I felt. And so I ended up going to Houston.
And is that, you did that with an agent, or how does that, was that all on you? How did that work for you?
Yeah, you have an agent, but at that point, if you're an undrafted guy, rookie free agent, you don't really have an agent. they do what they can, but it's whatever. They don't really care. They're on to the next one.
And so you saw that and you said, I can do this in Houston?
I've always believed in myself, but I didn't have like delusions of grandeur. It was, I know what I could do. Like I know football, you know what I'm saying? Like I know the game, and I know my talent and my skill level. And so when I looked at that depth chart, I looked at those dudes, and at the time, it's no slight to them. It's just how I felt right at the time. It was, I think that's Steve Slayton.
I remember him.
A dude by the name of Ryan Moats, and a tall dude named Chris Brown. And I've looked at their film, watched them. I was just like, I'm better. That's just how I felt. And just like I said, there's no disrespect. That's just how I felt. And yeah, so I picked Houston, and yeah, they gave me a shot.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know is like his work ethic. Could you describe that? The work ethic for you to be in your head, you're an undrafted guy going to a team, but you know you can ball and win. What all did you have to go through? Because I don't think people understand the mental capacity of being kind of doubted kind of your whole life. And this is all you have. Your family's looking up to you to kind of make it, and it's on your shoulders to make it. What did you have to put yourself through to get to that Texans, and then getting into that training camp too and balling out and showing face in front of all the NFL guys?
Yeah, it was it worked, and I think anybody, doesn't that have a lot to do with football, but just in general, anybody, I think if you want to like get any kind of progression in your life, you have to have a sit down with yourself and be honest about where you at. Like, okay, where am I at? Why am I here? You know, and that's what I did with myself. I said, why am I here? Why am I undrafted? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. I wanted to fix this about my game, that about my game, this about my game. And I had to be honest with myself, right? Everybody thinks, you know, you're your biggest fan, right? But I think if you want to excel, you have to be your biggest critic and be honest with yourself. And so that's what I did. I sat down, I was honest with myself, and I fixed parts of my game that I thought I was lacking in. And my game plan was, I'm gonna make these motherfuckers play me. Like they gonna feel me. Like every time I'm out here, they gonna have to look at this film and be like, how can we let him go? We have to play him. That was my goal. So every time I was out there, I try to do that. If I felt like if I was gonna get cut, it wasn't gonna be nothing because I couldn't control. So like I learned the playbook and I didn't make any mental mistakes. Like little shit like pass protection, right? A lot of the reasons why you'll see like top tier running backs to this day, a lot of them don't stay in on third downs. And the reason why they don't stay on third downs is because they have somebody else who can either run better routes, has better hands, or can read the defense better for pass protection. And so that's a lot of baggage in your skill set. Like it's a lot of things you have to have. And so to me, it was something I could control. I could read a defense. I know my plays, and if it's 1v1 versus a linebacker, this is 1-2. Like you gotta hit a motherfucker in the mouth. And so it was. I just made up my mind. I think over the course of that training camp, I made a lot of noise. And it was just undeniable at a certain point. And then I hurt my damn hamstring. I pulled my hamstring like halfway through. And NFL has very short-term memory, especially with undrafted rookies. They just don't care. And so I was trying to get back, and they were like, "Yo, you're not gonna make the team unless you're out here." And I was like, I literally hurt, and so like I'm just trying to play hurt. And I did okay the last couple preseason games, but I was just not 100% healthy. They ended up cutting me, and then put me on practice squad my rookie year. And I remember I was pissed. And then some dude named Two-Town Reyes, he came into me, and we was sitting there because you have like exit meetings. And he comes up to me and he says, he's like, what are they gonna do with you? I was like, they're gonna put me on P squad. And I'm pissed. Like, you know, I'm thinking my career is over. He's like, no, that's the best thing for you.
Okay.
And I was like, what? And he was like, that's the best thing for you. You get to sit, you get to work, perfect your craft. He's like, trust me, you're gonna make it in this league. And I was like, that's crazy. And he was like I think an 8-10 year vet at the time. And so that really kind of changed my mindset. And again, I think life is just about mindset. Shit happens, and it's about how you react to it. And so my mindset was, all right, you gonna put me on the practice squad? I'm gonna be the best fucking practice player you got. And so that's what I did. I mean, I was routing up our corners, our number one corners. Because like I had to play all positions. Like if they had a good tight end, I was the good tight end. If they had a good running back, I was a good running back. If they had a good receiver, I was a good receiver. So they had me playing everywhere in practice. And it got to the point, like I said, I was routing up our number one corner, our number two corner. I was beating our linebackers off, and I was playing tight end. I was, you know, saying it got to the point where I remember D'Amico, he yelled at me one practice. He goes, "Hey, calm that shit down, Rook." And I said, "Shit, you gonna feed my family?" Nope. All right then. And so like I just kept putting pressure on him. My running back coach comes to me and says, he said, keep doing what you're doing. And I just kept working. And then like halfway through the season, they ended up bringing me up.
Man, that's what's up. And then when you got to that spot, what was that being, at least from my eyes, like a nobody to like the immediate fame as a 20, how old were you? 24?
Yeah, 24.
So you're a nobody. You make this rocket ship into Houston. You start balling out, becoming famous, making money, and I think that contract you eventually became the highest paid ever running back. What was at the time? What was that?
Like 43.5.
Do we know what's going on right now in the NFL? Who's making? I know running backs really aren't hot anymore.
They're making a comeback. I think if you're good at anything, they'll pay you. But it's just there has to be certain circumstances that have to happen. Like you have to have a little bit of luck. Mm-hmm. You have to hit it at the right time. Yeah, you have to be healthy at the right time. Like a lot of things have to fall into play. But yeah. So, but that's your question. I was used to notoriety a little bit because when you go to like a school like Tennessee, it's a small town, and that's like the lifeblood of the city, and so you're recognized. And so like I had some success in college, and so you kind of get recognized and stuff like that. But it's on a grand scale in the NFL. It's like everybody watches the NFL, right? Famous basketball players know you. Like I remember reaching out and got LeBron James's number, shit like that. Crazy. Kobe called me over. Yeah, Kobe called me over after, because I'm a big Laker fan, and so after a Rockets game one time, he called me and Dre over, and some security guard pulled me over. He goes, "Hey, Kobe want to holler at you." I said, Kobe want to. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. So I went in, Kobe, chopped it up with Kobe, shit like that. But it was weird at first because like I don't care about that kind of shit. But in one hand, it's really cool because people appreciate what you do and the work that you put in. But the other hand, it's like you get a lot of like people feel like they know you. You know what I mean? And that's a balancing act. But at the end of the day, it was something that helped secure myself and my family, and so it comes with it. But I don't complain too much.
What about getting that money finally, from not having nothing to finally having something? What was that like? A relief? Were you overwhelmed? Were you excited?
Yeah, it didn't really feel real. It didn't feel real until like the first. Like I remember my first. I was on the toilet, and I remember my first NFL paycheck. This was my rookie year, and so you get like paid biweekly, and I think I had like $31,000 hit for a paycheck, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm rich." I was like, "That's the most money I've ever seen in my life." $31,000. I was like, "I'm fucking rich," and it was just like an amazing feeling because like all that work that I got put in. But then like I was like, "Okay, there's more out there," and then the surreal feeling was I was in a hotel in New York. I was with my mans, and my signing bonus hit. My signing bonus was $2 million, and I saw that, and I was like, it just didn't feel real. It felt very like, I don't know how to explain it. But it was also a fleeting moment because it was like, okay, now what? It's like you strive your entire life to get to this financial peak, and then you realize there is no there. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like I made it. It was a goal that I reached, and I reached the goal, but that opened up an entire new world of problems that I was unaware of, right? And so you got to understand how to manage that money. You got to understand how to manage people in your life. Like it's an entirely different set of circumstances that nobody I had known was accustomed to. And so it's navigating those waters was, I think, difficult at first.
Yeah, so you talked about you got your contract, but you talked about some problems. So I want people to talk about that because I don't think they understand when you're 25. I forgot again. 25-year-old kid, because you're still a kid. Because I'll get to how I met you when I was 23. I'm a kid, and you have that money, and you're here to provide for your family, and just those pressures because you weren't educated on money. How do you trust people? How did you navigate all that? And did you fuck up? Did you make mistakes? Did you lose money? Because you see so many athletes going broke.
Yeah, I made some mistakes. I got married.
We have a little W segment. I'm going to call that enough.
No, I think
this is funny to me because this is when I come in. I get corrupted. Yeah, he got married. And had a kid, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I got married, right? I was just trying to do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing ain't the right thing. But, no, I think it's when you're young, you have like, I guess the biggest lesson I've learned was like, it's kind of pessimistic, but I just don't think everybody has your best interest at heart. Mm-hmm. And I think the majority of people are really just looking out for themselves. But in that lesson is another lesson is I don't really take it personal. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm finna fuck over Arian Foster today. Like, nobody cares.
Are you saying this now as the 38-year-old man you are now, or are you saying this when you
No, back then I thought I wanted to kill everybody. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was personal. And I think when you take things personally, you it blinds you. And it doesn't allow you to, assess where you're at and assess the situation. It kind of makes you seclude in a lot of your emotions. And I think, like now, if somebody fucks me over, one, I expect it. But two, I don't really see it as like, oh, you fucked me over. I see it as like you got whatever you got going on, and like I was just in the crosshairs. It wasn't that like it was nothing you were trying to do to me. It was just something that either you have insecurity or you got issues that you need to deal with on your own time, and I just happened to be I just had the brunt end of it. And so when you're younger, I think I trusted a lot of people I shouldn't have trusted, because you hear it all the time, right? Like there's people out there who want to take advantage of you because you got bread, and it's true. And there are people who, and again, I don't think it's personal. I think it's people just trying to get over, and it doesn't matter who they try to get over on. They just try to get over, and there's just bad people out there. But again, it's not like I don't wake up in the morning and I'm like, yeah, they fucked me over. It's just, that's life, you got to move on and go on about your day.
Glad you feel that way. I wish I could harness that. I still can't. You got your money.
It's exhausting.
It's very exhausting.
It's exhausting trying to pick apart other people's psyche.
Yeah, I always hear like Will Smith or whatever, these things I listen to, they say you're letting people have rent in your head that it should be rent free, and you're wasting your energy on things that you cannot control. So why do you let it? But me being 34 now, I don't have the maturity yet, as I can see with you how you feel. I don't have that, especially if I was coming up like you and then I got money and now people are I'm more and more.
Yeah, I mean, you can if you want to. It's just going to be a waste of time.
Yeah, that's right. I know. I haven't tapped that yet. So he got his money. You guys were starting to win. Mm-hmm. The guys lost to Tim Tebow a couple times. We talked about that a handful of times. No, you guys had you did lose to Tim, and he came back as always. I
can't play defense though.
Had a hell of a season. Couldn't make it through. And then I think. Again, I didn't know Arian. I didn't know Dre and these guys. I met his brother out in LA during my internship. And his brother met up with me at a dinner with him and your financial guy at the time, Humble. And they brought me to Houston. So that was 2013. So you were prime Arian Foster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was prime time. Again, I didn't know who he was. I had to go to Taj and be like, yo, there's his brother and Arian and Andre Johnson. These guys are all in Texans. They're talking about doing a gym together, and it's going to be his gym. And I was a kid. I was trying to find a job. I was interning for so long, and this is my chance to finally have a real job. So I moved out to Houston, based off of him and his brother. And then we were working with another gentleman at the time doing the gym. Like you heard in my last story, he was supposed to be the gym owner. His brother was supposed to operate, and I was supposed to train. And you were an investor, right?
Yeah.
With all that.
I fronted it.
So he was prime investor and then some shady shit went down. that dude, he stole money from you. That's how it happened. So the guy that I came here with, for him, we're starting this gym, and then I'm being told, I get a little meeting, and I'm being told, hey man, we gotta make some decisions, and you can either stay here with us, you can go with him, or go home. And I was only working there for maybe about a month with you guys at the time.
Yeah, it was early.
It was early on. Yeah. So
I forgot about that.
So I was just now gaining his trust because he was coming off of your back surgery. You broke your back.
Slip disc.
That's what it was. Slipped his disc, and we were barely open. And then I was doing things with you that I think you liked. That was kind of new and to the style of training that everybody does now. So I was getting a lot of trust with Arian and Dre and Owen Daniels and all these guys. Because of you guys, I was able to come in and present my talent finally. And I was a 23-year-old kid. I told Arian, like, whatever you need from me, and Travell, the guy at the gym, I said, I'm gonna work my ass off. And I said that from day one. I was like, you have everything from me. I'm gonna give you my all. I went and got an apartment 5 minutes from the gym. I don't know if you remember, I used to walk from the gym to the place and put all the hours in and do what I can to show these guys like my commitment to them, because this is my chance to excel. And working for free, finally making money, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. And so I was heartbroken and hurt. I remember I was crying. I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do, because I'm getting close to Arian, getting close to these guys. And he sat me in that office. He said, hey, bro, you know, you're a man. You're gonna have to make your own decisions. But coming from me and coming from Dre, I can't speak for everybody, but everybody loves what you're doing here. We love to have you here, but we understand that your loyalty of why you came here was for this gentleman, and we're going to respect whatever decision you made. And at that point in time, I was, again, a kid. I was crying. I was just lost. And I was like, the whole time, I'm like, the guy that left couldn't even tell me he left. And these guys are sitting here telling me they believe in me. I was just so scared to make that decision and leap to take it with you guys. But I ended up staying, and I stayed with him and helped rehab your back. And you brought all those Texans at the time. And then he had a Pro Bowl career right after that. So that was like the start of my career. So without his brother, without him, the start of me doesn't even happen. So I first want to say I appreciate you for that. Yeah. And I hope you remember a lot of those days, because that was some deep stuff. It was fun too. Yeah. We, again, start a business, and a lot of us didn't know what the fuck we were doing. I became the head trainer. Brother had to operate as a business owner. You were just funding it, but you were bringing guys in. We had at least like 20 NFL cats at the time.
Brought some NBA guys.
Like
baseball. It was
a great moment in time, but a moment that made me and kind of broke me as well. We were like going through a lot of change and transition. We had, again, another trainer leave, and then you're kind of getting in the middle of things because the business isn't operating. So you already went from a guy taking money from you that was supposed to start the gym, fully funding the gym, and now this midst of, fuck, is this gym going to work? I remember I had multiple conversations with you on what's going on, how's this going to happen. I gave everything to you guys. For sure. And did you ever feel any stress or like worry about the gym or worry about me? How's this going to operate or anything during that time when we were going through those things?
No, honestly, dog, it was my brother's baby, right? And so he had a dream, and I wanted to help fund his dream. Just like with all my family, I was in a position to where I could help, my family fulfill their dream. And, I love my family to death, but I don't think that he was probably ready to have something like that. Like it's hard to do, and that's no disrespect to him. I think it's owning and operating a business. It's just tough. I think it's like 98% of businesses fail in the first 2 years that they're open, and it's having experience in that area, I think, hurt. I think him having a vision of where he wanted it to go versus where I thought it should go. That's we differed there, but I think and you were great. I think that was the main thing I remember was everybody loved training with you, and you were a killer, and so I knew you were gonna do well, but I think that situation was just toxic in so many levels of people seeing it different ways, and everybody wanted to do their own thing, and it just it fell apart. But you know, and there's a lot of like back end stuff that I really wasn't aware of. It's not really it wasn't my business, like, and so I think it's just one of those things, man. Like, shit didn't work out, but I don't have no hard feelings about anything or anybody that went on, and so I know dealing with business like that can be very personal, and people take a lot of things personally. I know there's a lot of like personal rifts, and I don't know everything, like I said, that's involved, but I just try to treat people like how I want to be treated, and I feel like I did that.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's great to have him on, because I've always because again, without your brother, I don't make it to Houston. I don't get my start. I don't do those things. So it's a hard thing to swallow, because you give your all to something, and I wanted to show you guys so hard how hard I wanted it, and I wanted to work, and I put my own money in that place, and it was just such a struggle, because I'd have to come to you, and you're not a part of the business, so I'm venting to you professionally and as a friend, because again, this guy, you know, he was there for I had a huge heartbreak. You were there for me when I was in New York for the first time. Yeah. Like, I'm a kid, and you helped me, guide me through that. You helped me when I didn't have any money. You helped guide me through financially how to save money, how to make money, just becoming a man. A lot of that stage in my life, because, you know, my pops wasn't there at that time as I was growing older. And, so I was so loyal to you. Like, that's where my loyalty came from. And, you know, you never like wavered. You always had my back. And the other thing I loved is when you train people, you get a bond. And with your injuries, and then just your life at that time going on with everything. Like, I was a part of it. Like, I was a part of the divorces. I was a part of the bad. You know,
was only one.
I'm sorry. I get divorces and the ladies mixed up. I was a part of all that, and so you just build this bond with each other. And then when you start to lose what you love, and like your best friend is there but he can't help you, it was hard for me, and it was because of you was the reason why I didn't do stupid shit. I could have went the other way with it. Sure. And I had so much respect and admiration for you. I didn't. I remember I took you out after it happened to be like, hey man, I don't know if you've ever done this or someone's done this for you, because you're a millionaire. But millionaires like to be taken out and doing shit too. So I took him out to Mastro's just to thank you. So I want to say thank you. It was a great part of my life. I learned so much just as a man and as a trainer. And then seeing you fight through that Achilles injury, and like that was my Kobe moment. So like he knows me. Like I like watching Kobe. I like watching Tim Tebow, LeBron.
Watching Tim Tebow. What is he doing now?
If he was in the NFL right now, he'd be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, he was before his time. We're gonna run that clip. They blew an 18-point lead against Tebow.
Who's they?
And you say you want defense.
I had 100 yards.
I think Kush was on defense. I think GQ was on defense. Who was on defense?
What do you want me to do?
But no, I look up all those guys. So that's where the 4 a.m. happened. So when I finally met a guy who was legitimately about the 4 a.m. So we would work out 4 a.m. like 2-a-days. And a lot of these athletes and Instagram now, it's all like reels and likes, and you're lucky you're not a part of that shit right now. It's
I'm
fucking
so happy I'm not.
It's crazy. Everything's camera in your face. It's who got the best workout video, but he was there at 4 a.m. and I was my commitment to him, and like that's what made me. That was the deep of it. So yeah, it didn't work out. You guys know that story, but it was just a tough position that he was in because it's not his, and I'm coming to him like, what's going on? But you know, he mentioned that I was a killer, and he saw that, and that was like all the respect that I needed. And I knew in my head, like when somebody does that to me, I'm going to show you just how you showed the world what you could do. And that was my motivation, was to show, okay, I'm going to go do what I got to do. And I did. We had meetings. We went to the Post Oak. You eventually came to the Post Oak and worked out with me. He came to my garage when he was wanting to work out during COVID. So there was never a rift between us. Like, he always had the utmost respect for me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
You helped me with work ethic as well.
Yeah, man. I always thought like you were a good dude, man. You worked hard. honest, and that's just a rare quality in humans. And so I always try to reciprocate the energy that people give me. Be it, whether it's good or bad, I'll give you what you give me, and you always gave me good, and so I always give you good. And so, like I said, it's just one of those things, man. Business is tough, though. Business is tough, and you just it can't all be winners,
Yeah, that's a dub.
What's this? Are we sponsored by them?
I'm working on it, man. You know how these sponsors work. I'm trying to get the tequila sponsor.
I got you.
Trying to get a Jake Paul. He's got a body.
He's one of the worst. I'm sponsored by him. You like Jake Paul and Tim Tebow, bro. Your fandom is going downhill.
No, not at all.
You went from Kobe.
Well, it's LeBron won.
Kobe, LeBron won, Jake Paul, and Tim Tebow.
These are the guys that are relevant in my life right now.
How is Tim Tebow relevant in your life?
He's what got me here, man. I got Tebow in here.
Tebow did not get you here.
I got Tebow. He did. He helped me through college.
How?
When I was in Laramie, Wyoming, in negative 20-degree weather, during that time, because Denver, we liked Denver. We grew up watching Denver. And he was doing what he was doing. That gave me life.
He wasn't that good.
The Broncos were 0-3 with Kyle Orton. Not wrestlers. Team Tebow took over.
They won a game when he had 8 yards passing.
Tebow took over, put that team on the map, and he beat one of the best defenses in the world at the time, Pittsburgh Steelers.
He is doing a lot
We're going to run that clip to Demaryius Thomas. Rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas.
He is doing a lot of carrying in that sense. He beat them?
He willed them. Again, I'm not the sports guy. I'm just letting you know what I saw.
That's obvious.
Just letting you know what I saw.
I got nothing against Tebow. It's just, he wasn't that good in there.
He beat you guys.
Okay.
Anyways, where are we going out with that? The sponsors. Anyways, do you think Jake Paul's a real boxer?
No. No. He has skills, but there's a reason he doesn't box boxers. Because he'll get
What if I told you he set up contracts with boxers and they won't sign the contract?
I don't believe that.
I believe it.
Jake Paul has the biggest draw in boxing right now. If you're telling me a boxer in his weight class,
he's knocked out boxers.
Turning down. Hear me out. A boxer in his weight class is turning down the biggest payday of their career to box a middle to low skilled tiered boxer.
You think Jake Paul's a low tiered skilled boxer?
Yes. Absolutely.
Have you watched him?
Yes.
Okay, you have a platform. I need you to.
I'm a boxing fan.
Are you still on Twitter?
I love boxing.
Are you still on Twitter?
Yes.
Tweet him.
No.
Tweet him. For me, let's get some views.
I might block him.
What?
He's a troll.
How?
How's he a troll?
He
literally trolls.
But you're a troll too.
No, I don't.
Look, Arian.
Where do I troll?
You're prime Arian with the Houston Texans.
Where did I troll?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I had a media obligation, right? In my contract. I had to talk to the media, right? I was tired of the media because I went through my little personal deal and they was showing up to my house and I didn't like the local media, right? And so I had to show up, right? So you're going to get one answer from me. That's not
here
trolling.
So I don't get fined. There's a young lady.
I didn't
there's
say
a
that.
young lady out there.
I said I was trying to be the best teammate I could be.
Oh, who said that?
That was Marshawn Lynch.
My bad.
In the Super Bowl.
So you said, what'd you say?
I said I was trying to be the best teammate I could be.
Yeah. I'm trying to be the best teammate I could be.
That's not trolling.
There's a lady out there hardworking, ready to do her first interview with you, and you say that.
Don't care. I don't get paid to talk to the media. I got paid to play football.
You do get paid to talk to the media.
No.
That's a part of the job. That's a part of the fame.
That's not.
That's a part of the criteria.
I've never seen anybody get a contract because they talk to the media well.
So when you sign a contract, you're not supposed to talk to the media, and you're the running back of the Houston Texans.
That's a variable of what is required of you, but it's not the reason why I'm there.
See,
I'm there to play football.
That's the troll.
That's not a troll. What's your definition of troll?
Whatever your definition
is. You talking about Jake Paul like putting on like fake bellies and like. It's goofy. He's goofy. He's a goofy dude.
You were pretty goofy. We gotta pull up some of your old tweets.
We have a difference of opinion of like if you think I'm anywhere in the range of a Jake Paul.
Anyways, he's a very talented boxer, and he actually
boxer.
He called out Canelo. Canelo doesn't even want to fight.
Canelo's what 140, 150?
He'll make the weight. Whatever Jake's gonna do.
This is what I'm saying. Box somebody in your weight class. That is a boxer.
He's already knocked him out.
He's not.
Yeah, he's knocked at a 12 pro boxer.
Anybody in his weight class.
Okay, we're not getting anywhere.
Pull it up, Jamie.
We were talking about business to being kicked out of a business to a relationship to Jake Paul.
I'm a fan of boxing. I don't think he's not talented. I think he's a talented boxer, and he's willed himself.
And you know what it takes to box. We box together.
Yeah, I think
that shit is not easy.
I think he's willed himself into being a skilled boxer. I just don't think he's like at the top of his.
Jake Paul says he's a heavyweight. That can't.
He said he's not a troll. I said he's a troll. I'm gonna find clips of Arian Foster being a troll. There's probably a lot of them. I could probably just Google Arian Foster being a troll. He's fucking trolling people.
I don't troll people.
It's just like like you talked about. Yeah.
Never. I don't think I've ever trolled anybody. Maybe. You figure out Jake Paul's
He says he's a heavyweight, so I'm gonna look up who's the top heavyweight right now.
Look at his record. He hasn't boxed an actual boxer.
He did. He boxed. He boxed Tommy Fury, and he got fucking screwed over to that.
That was the only. And he's not a top tier boxer.
Yeah, he is. Tommy Fury's.
He's not a top tier boxer.
So what would it take for Jake Paul to get your respect?
Go box a boxer. He's had. And he lost. That's what I'm saying. But I respect the hustle to a certain extent, but it's where we at as a society.
So what he did with Mike Tyson being the biggest draw and all that money, you can't acknowledge that?
Goofy. Acknowledge what? Like
they changed boxing. Those numbers have never been discovered. Just like the LeBron Jordan debate. LeBron changed basketball. LeBron's the greatest.
So we went from Jake Paul is a top tier skilled boxer to Jake Paul's in the same conversation as LeBron James and changing the game of basketball.
Yes. 1,000%.
Hey, yo, B.
You know how I roll.
Irrational is how you roll.
LeBron's and the Jake Pauls.
You roll irrational.
But anyways, we were trying to get a sponsor, so I'm really working on the sponsor.
Yeah, you're working hard too. Saying he changed the game of boxing, though. That's just. I hope he do it, man. I hope he sees this, man.
So anyways, I wanted to give you my flowers, man. I appreciate you for that 4-year stint we had at 9. The good, the bad, and eventually it all worked out. Sure. We have a phenomenal gym now. Gotta get you back. You're not that fat, actually. Good job, man.
That's crazy.
Are serious? Man
said you're not that fat, actually.
This guy doesn't like working out. I said he was getting to a point where he's getting fat. He's got those little Mexican love handles. It's all good, man.
You might want to cut that one down. The personal jokes are okay, but not everybody might take them the same way he goes.
He was 10 minutes late. I had a joke for that one too, but I didn't take. I was like, I hadn't seen Arian for a while, so I'm not gonna hit him with that yet.
Yeah. No, I don't like working out. You're not wrong.
No, you look good, man. I'm actually proud of you. That's what I was about to get at. So post NFL, what was that a hard decision for you to retire? I know you had those injuries at the end of the year.
Yeah.
At the end of your career. Was that like, what the fuck am I going to do next? Because I think it's important for like people to understand like there's what's life after football. What's life after you make that money? Do you have a passion, or do you have any advice for like these guys that are out here? I know you had a couple people pass away that were close to you. I think it was maybe football related. I'm not educated on that. I don't want to talk about it either.
I don't know 100%, so I don't want to speak on it. But
yeah, was that hard for you? When did you see that door closing? What was life after?
No, it was easy to retire. I remember having a conversation with my father when I was young. I was like, how do you... And I having that conversation as a kid as well, but I remember asking him, how did you know when you wanted to walk away from the game? And he told me when I was young, he said, you'll know it. He's like, you'll know. And I remember the moment. I was reading a book at a time by a guy by the name of Brian Greene. It's called Fabric of the Cosmos. I think we're playing Steelers or the Browns, one of them. And I was on the sidelines, and I was looking at the stands, and I was like, it just hit me. I was like, I do not care who wins this game. Couldn't care less. And I think when you play a violent sport like that, in a position like that, you can't hang on. You can't act like I want to finish the season out. You know, it's just like I wanted to walk away, so I walked away mid-season.
So when we were training that year for your post Achilles, and you got to the Dolphins, did you? Because then with me and you, we're like, yeah, we're gonna get it. We're gonna be the best. So maybe. Were you fooling yourself?
No, I was in great shape. I was in some of the best shape I've ever been. It was hard. That was hard to train because I couldn't train it as hard as I wanted to. Because I remember I had, aside from my Achilles, I had like a bone bruise in my foot, and so I couldn't put a lot of force on it and get all the training I need. But I went into camp in great shape. And I played well. Ended up being a starter. And the first game I played pretty well. But I think I had like a small little pull on my calf, and
this guy doesn't have a pain tolerance either, so we don't even know what the fuck you probably could have had because you've pushed through things that I've.
Yeah, no, and that was probably a big part of my problem was I pushed through so much that I was just trained that like pain is okay. You know, it's okay. Like, you have to push through the pain. And it got to the point where it's like I don't feel it anymore, or I could just deal with it. Yeah. And I think doing that over the course of, 20 years playing football, 20 plus years playing football, fucks your body up.
Yeah, I know a lot of these guys have, I feel like, identity issues post football because you train your whole life for it and then you stop and then what do you do? I know you had a passion for music, so you had a music career, still do, I think. You're actually very, very smart. People don't know about, at least I feel, podcast. Speaking of that, the music, you had a tattoo. Is it the microphone one and then self-made?
Oh, yeah.
Did we talk about that? Did you regret that one? Or I wanted to get into
self-made?
Huh?
Did I regret being self-made?
Do you feel like you were self-made?
To an extent. I think I got
that tattoo.
I got that when I was like 18.
Yeah, do you feel the same way about it? Like, fuck, why did I have that? I always wanted to ask you about the self-made tattoo.
Any tattoo that I have that I might not agree with, I don't mind that I have it on me. It's just it's a representation of how I was feeling in that moment and in that era in my life. That's who I was and that's what I thought. And so I don't mind any tattoo that I have. Self-made, that was. I needed that. I was in college at the time and I felt like the world was against me and I felt like I had no help, being in college and my parents were still struggling and I felt like I had to do it all myself. Yeah. And so that was an era in my life where I felt like it was just me. And I think I needed that. That's what I needed to feel to get through that period. And so do I feel like I'm self-made now? I mean, to an extent, I did a lot of what I did solo, but I had a lot of help. I had a lot of luck. But that's just being older and understanding that it's hard to do anything alone.
Cool. That's cool too, because I want to talk about you posted this thing on Instagram about nobody cares. I want to get into that eventually too. I thought that was super interesting. So I always felt, Arian, no matter what you did, I felt like you could be the best at. And a lot of people, I think they judge athletes and they think they're stupid and then they go broke or they don't know what they're doing with the money. A lot of people don't know you're a heavy investor, right? Did you have a passion for that or were you just guided in that? Did you enjoy saving money?
Passion, no. I think my goal was to get $100 million.
Okay.
I probably could have. No, I could have. I mean,
want to fight Jake Paul?
The game, I don't. the game is rigged, right? Uh-huh. And so once I started doing these investments and started yielding big returns.
And you were doing that during your career too, right? Okay.
Yeah. We were one of the first investors in DraftKings. Okay. And so I got a pretty big investment return on that. And once I started to get these returns, my politics have kind of changed. And so like my goal is not to get $100 million anymore. I don't care about that anymore. I appreciate, what I did, but it's not something that I strive for. My goal now is just to try to be happy. Sounds pretty corny and cliche, but that's literally what I do. I wake up in the morning and try to find some peace because I think what you hit on is a real thing. And a lot of my colleagues struggle with depression and get into alcoholism and drugs and all kind of vices because you spend your entire life going towards a goal and it ends at age 30. And the hard part about that is I was never one of the cats who felt like I had an identity in football, but I guess when you have no like real freedom, I always tell people not everybody can be free, like really free, because it's a scary thing. And this is why people get depressed. This is why I know a bunch of miserable millionaires, is because it's hard to wake up and face yourself every day. It's not easy to do. People that have jobs, they kind of are distracted by that. Like they go to the work day to day, they family stuff, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't allow you to sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts. And that's hard to do. It's really hard to do when you don't have to worry about food, clothing, shelter. You wake up and you don't have to answer to anybody. It sounds amazing. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely perks. I'm not complaining, but it's a task. It is hard to sit with yourself. And this is why so many people post, especially young athletes. I mean, not even athletes. When you look at people when they retire, like 60, 70 years old, they die. They start to die faster when they retire because they don't have, you have to sit with yourself. And when you're just going, and all of a sudden I'm just existing, it's a lot of philosophical thoughts that bump around in the head. And if you're not ready to tackle those questions, those existential questions that keep people up at night, it can go south very fast. And I've seen that, like I said, with my colleagues and people I've been around. So you have to keep yourself busy. You have to keep yourself motivated. And that's hard to do too, because the motivation for me coming up was not being broke. That was my motivation. And so my motivation is now, like I said, is to be happy. It's to try to be the best version of myself. Try to find things that I'm interested in and that you have a passion for. And it wanes. Sometimes you'll be super into something and you'll be off it. You gotta keep trying to reinvent yourself.
Do you feel, how many years it's been you're at the league?
8 now.
So 8 years. You know, you say you want to find things that make you happy. Do you struggle with that?
Oh yeah,
daily still? As you're talking about it, you yourself, you do. Do you still do music? Is that something you're still passionate about?
Yeah. I got a studio at the house, and I make music all the time. It's just putting projects together is like it's an ordeal because I like to put out really quality stuff. And so if you look at my last project, it's well done. I got some really good, like Sahara Prince is on one of the tracks. It's really, really good projects. And so like I don't do it. I'll make music till I die. I don't do it. Like I don't want to be famous from it.
I was about to ask, when we first started that, did you have I got to see that first album. Did you have aspirations? I'm going to be that guy.
No. Okay. I've never made music for that. I make music. I've made music since I was a kid. I used to write poetry. It's just something that's like, I will always do it. It's something that is just a part of who I am. And like I've recorded thousands of songs, but I've only put out, I don't know, 20, 25 tracks. But yeah, I'll always do that.
With your colleagues and yourself, are you guys vulnerable enough to talk about those things? Do you feel like there needs to be more education with stuff like that? Do you have somebody that you talk to, or do you maybe see yourself going to the NFL and be like, look, there's a problem here, we need to do something to fix it? Or what's kind of your vision with that, and how do you fight it?
Yeah, I think the last
because they look at you guys like superhuman.
Sure.
Same with me. Like you're Arian, you'd be all right. You'd be good.
Yeah, and then to an extent it's true. Like I will, but I don't think everybody is like that. You know, I think in the last 10 years, mental health has been a non-taboo topic. But like when I was growing up, it was like, yo, just stop being a bitch. You know what I mean? Like that was what it was. And those repressed emotions, they manifest themselves in other ways, be it vices or emotional outbursts. You take it on people that are undeserving of it. And over the last, like I said, the last decade, mental health has become like a topic of conversation. And so there's more options available for people than when I first retired, right? But like now, you know, it's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to talk to somebody. Like that was kind of seen. It wasn't as prevalent when I was growing up, but I am more vulnerable than probably a lot more other people. But everybody, you know, you take case by case. I know a lot of dudes that are very, you know, you sit there and talk like men about your insecurities, about your transgressions, about how you feel, and it's good. I think that everybody should have that outlet and that tribe.
Yeah.
And so if you mentioned that, do I have any advice for younger cats who are about to exit out of the game? I think that would be it. It would be to really like take your time, enjoy the fruits of your labor, but then really understand like why you are the way you are. Like a lot of the attributes that I have and a lot of the bad qualities that I have were because that it was a self-defense mechanism growing up. I had to be like that in order to survive my environment. And if you don't unpack that, like I said, it can come out in ways that can get really ugly.
What about teammates now? Like that that are retired, do you have any advice for them? How you feel like people that are struggling with something that they can't come talk to? Or are you someone that they can talk to? Or what's
I mean,
not even just mental health, man, just identity. I just see like, you know, we talked about it. You guys do this thing, and then you're no longer. I know your name. You never really cared about being Arian Foster, like for the Texans, but I know some people kind of feel that way. They're not in the shine anymore, and they're lost.
Yeah, I think I was lucky in that sense where like if you come to my house, there's not a piece of football memorabilia in my house. Like
I already know. I haven't been there in a hot minute, but wherever you're at, he does have a dope. I hope you still got it. That jersey collection.
Yeah, there are 2 trash bags in my closet.
I was about to say he probably doesn't have that anymore. He does have a sick ass list of guys. That's pretty dope. But yeah, go ahead.
I don't know where I was going.
We were talking about advice for like guys that are out, like maybe like some of your teammates, former teammates, or
I mean, shoot, it would just be to like dive into your family life, like right now, like a lot of things that give me joy. Like I love being a dad. Like I go to my kids' basketball. You got to see Cairo though. He's nice.
How old is he?
Yeah, he's 11 now. Fuck. Yeah, he's nice though.
So I knew them when they were
little babies. Yeah, Zanaya. Yeah. She's 15 now.
Okay.
About to be 6. She about to drive. It's crazy. But I would say that. I would say dive into your family life. I think a lot of the times, like I think it's very hard to be a present father and to be like a breadwinner. That's just my opinion. I think it's possible, but it's very hard, right? And I think if you're like at the top of the top, you can only serve one master. And so if you're gonna give yourself to something, it's hard. So like one of the big things I had to like reconcile with was like I was there for my kids when I could be, but I wasn't the father that I know I could wanted to be actually. And so kind of like waking up from the whirlwind of your career, you kind of are strangers to your family around you. And because I'm always on the go, I gotta do this, I gotta go to this show, I gotta go to shooting, I gotta do this, I got a commercial, I got whatever. And then you become so detached. You have all these experiences that they don't have, and they're living their lives, and you kind of start to grow apart. And so you have to like reconcile with the fact that like, yo, I'm here. I got to be here, and really diving into that. And that's been really fulfilling for me, is really being present, being active, being a better father, better son, better brother.
Do you have any aspirations like now you're working on, like you have a project or something you're building, or what's life for Arian post? Are you 38 now?
Yeah. Honestly, it's just little projects that keep me going. Like, so I'm working on another music project. That's, like I said, I'll always do that. I'm working on a documentary about the NFL.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's about how they don't don't give us health care. She'll love that.
I don't care. I was about to say that's you being a troll, but that's just Arian being Arian.
That's not a troll.
I know. That's why I said I got to be careful what I say because he's going to say it's not a troll. But in my head, I know what Arian's going to do and his purpose with it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I think healthcare is a pretty good thing.
I'm like, if there's one guy to talk about that and push it and be who he is going to be, he's the guy. But yeah, cool music. Do you have that thing you can pull up and read? Could you read it for me? The thing you posted about? I know it's a little long. It's like a paragraph, but I want you to read it. It's a great segue to talk about what we were talking about and him kind of... Like he says, in this post, it says none of us matter, basically. Kind of something. I want to get your. I want to get your like.
It says,
feel on it.
I don't know who
great.
wrote it. I caught it on a screenshot from somebody else. It says nobody's thinking about you, and it says long ago when I was in my insecure 20s, I met a clever, independent, creative, and powerful woman in her mid-70s who offered me a superb piece of life wisdom. She said, we all spend our 20s and 30s trying so hard to be perfect because we're so worried about what people will think of us. Then we get to our 40s and 50s and we finally start to be free because we decide that we don't give a damn what anybody thinks of us. But you won't be completely free until you reach your 60s and 70s when you finally realize this liberating truth. Nobody was ever thinking about you anyhow. They aren't, they weren't, they never were. And it's honest.
It's cool, yeah.
It kind of goes to what I was saying. It's like nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm gonna fuck over Dose today. Nobody does that, right? They'll get up and they'll say, hey, how can I get to this goal? And if you happen to be in the way during that time, yeah, you might catch a stray, but you weren't the focus of their like nobody does that. And so like they're not thinking about you. Nobody doesn't think about the shit that you think about. You think about your goals, your aspirations, whatever. You're not thinking about the dude you about to cut off in the median lane, later on. Like nobody does that. And so you can't take the shit that people do personally because it's not to me. It might be at me, but it's not to me. And there's a big difference. And there's a lot of peace in that. I know you're doing it daily. Would you say you're like still daily with that too? Or you're almost at peace with like your life right now? Like you're 38, you got money, you're living your life, you're starting to be a part of your kids' life. I am. I'm not starting.
I mean, like what you were saying, like being more present, which what you were saying.
Yeah, it's realizing.
Yeah, realizing
that, like I don't, my family doesn't know me like I had probably a closer relationship to you than I did with my mother because we spent so much time together. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that's what I mean. I mean, like when you come back to and you're retired, you're a different person and your family are different people. And it's like, you have to relearn them, regain their trust. But that's what I meant by that. I don't mean like, I was never a good dad. I was always there. Of course. I was only there in the capacity that I was able to be. But you said, do I carry this with me now? Yeah, I've always kind of had that mindset, but as you grow, it starts to be more and more prevalent. I'm not Buddha, I still talk shit, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it is a prevailing thought in my mind is nobody really gives a fuck. Like nobody really cares. And so once you live, it's a freeing thought. Because you're not worried about what people, if I wear this, if I do this, what are people going to think with it? Nobody cares. They're not thinking. Do you? Just do you? Because we're all going to die. Hate to make it a little morbid, but they nobody going to make it out of this motherfucker alive. So I follow this account on Instagram, and it's these old folks. It's like an old folks home. And they just ask them a whole bunch of questions. And one of the questions they asked them was like, what's your biggest regret? And it was like a resounding consensus was that they wish that they lived their lives the way that they wanted to rather than what they thought other people wanted them to. And I'm like, I can't go to my deathbed thinking, I didn't do what I really wanted to do because I thought somebody else, that doesn't give a fuck about me anyway. Yeah, it's just like, fuck that. Do you?
Love that. And that's low key kind of, I try to live that way. Like I told him I really work on the anger, but anger fuels me in that way. And I really work, and I even talked to Priscilla about it. I was like, I wish I didn't carry this, but like, I do feel like that's what brought me my gym. That's what brought me my family here. That's what brought me starting another business with the supplements. And I kind of embrace it. And
it could be a useful, it could be a useful emotion. But it could be a double-edged sword. Like you don't want to rule by that emotion. That could be the fuel for sure, but you don't want to let that guide your everyday interactions and stuff like that. That could be dangerous. But it's a big ass waste of time.
Yeah.
You can't fight the world. You can't beat everybody up.
And what's
Somebody
great
gonna
is
get you.
I haven't spoke to you for what, 5 years, 4 years? Like legitimately. We haven't even like sat down like this. And I knew when I messaged him, just by how you've heard him talk, I knew we would be able to sit down and just chop it up. And I have that most respect for you. And thank you for bringing me into Houston and starting all this and now evolving where we're at. If you're ever getting out of shape, Dre's boxing and stuff, now you can come join us. Yeah. Boxing.
Was it Zobo?
Yeah.
Zobo?
Just in case you want to get into a celebrity fight, maybe we'll sponsor you.
Yeah. That's an L.
Take some pre-workout.
I will never fight Jake Paul, though.
But yeah, he brought me here. A huge part of my life. It's good to have you in my home, in the man cave, and the Daily Dose. Tell your truth. Appreciate you want to take a shot with me on your way out.
I'm chilling, man. I had a rough night, though.
I'll still take the shot by myself.
I'm surprised I made it out there.
No, I appreciate you. You made it. You were 10 minutes late. But he's just here, so... What is it? I don't get fun. No, I'm here. What'd you say you said?
I'm just trying to be the best teammate.
He's trying to be the best co-host he can.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I'm not a co-host, I'm a guest. This guy.
I see him. Trolling. Anyways, Arian, I appreciate you, man.
I don't think you know what a troll is.
Thanks for coming on my mini podcast. Your podcast is still up?
I have a different one. It's called Macro Dosing with Barstool.
Okay. Yeah. He's not really on Instagram or cares about that stuff, but that's Arian Foster. That's my guy. I don't have his jersey. I don't have many jerseys, but maybe he'll give me one.
I think I got one.
So I'd be appreciative. Yeah. But thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Daily Dose, tell your truth. We out. Like, subscribe, share.
Or don't.
Or don't. Because we're all going to die.
It's facts.
Turn my headphones up. Louder.